Hey, curious souls! Although I've enjoyed traveling all around South Asia, I just couldn't stay away from India. We're at Jal Mandir, the water temple in the city of Pavapuri in northeastern India. We're here for a special day. People have come here to light lamps to celebrate a religious festival. Does this celebration seem familiar to you? If you said it reminds you of Diwali, you're right, it is Diwali. But this isn't a Hindu temple, and these aren't Hindus coming to worship. Curious? Well, I hope so, because we're about to learn about a fascinating faith known for its ways of peace. Let's go! Welcome back to the Library of Faith. You just witnessed a celebration of Diwali by a religious group called Jains. Diwali isn't the only aspect of worship that Jains share with other religions from South Asia. As we go through this section, think about some of Jainism's common threads with Hinduism and Buddhism. While the Jain celebration of Diwali may look pretty similar to its Hindu counterpart, Jains celebrate for a different reason. In Jainism, Diwali is celebrated to mark the enlightenment of Lord Mahavira, a spiritual leader of the religion. Mahavira, who lived in the 6th century BCE, is the most well-known figure in Jainism. He was born into a royal family not far from the water temple. At age 30, Mahavira renounced his princely life to seek spiritual awakening. After practicing strict asceticism for 12 years, he achieved a state of enlightenment. He is said to be the last of 24 Tirthankars, or Jain teachers, who guide others on the path to enlightenment. As Jains consider their religion eternal, the earliest Tirthankars are said to date back to prehistoric times, and the only record of them is found within Jain texts. However, later teachers like Mahavira, whose existence has been corroborated by historical evidence, have most directly shaped the form of Jainism that is practiced today. Mahavira's followers compiled his sacred texts, known as the Agamas, and established a structured Jain community that has existed for millennia. Most of the world's 6 to 7 million Jains live in India, with small communities elsewhere, including Kenya and the United States. Jains believe that the universe regulates itself without help from an all-powerful deity. All living beings, humans, animals, and even plants, have souls of equal value. Rather than believing in and worshiping a creator god, Jains venerate Mahavira and other Tirthankars not as gods, but as beings who have set an example of how to follow the path to liberation. Like Mahavira, Jains hope to generate positive karma for their soul in order to break free of samsara and achieve enlightenment. When this happens, liberated souls reside at the top of the universe in a state of pure bliss and peace. Now, please complete your guided viewing task on the historical context and core beliefs of Jainism. So now you know a bit about Jain history and how they view the universe and the cycle of life. But it's important to note that all Jain beliefs are founded on some core principles. Rather than hear it from me, let's see if you can figure out those core principles from some traditional Jain stories.
In a small village, there lived 6 blind men. They were particularly curious about elephants. They had heard many descriptions of an elephant, but had never encountered one. One day, a kind villager decided to bring them to an elephant to settle their curiosity. He led them to the palace of the local king, who had an elephant. The 6 blind men eagerly gathered around the massive animal, each touching a different part of its body. The first man touched the elephant's side. "How smooth! An elephant is like a wall," he declared. The second felt the tusk. "No, it is round and smooth and sharp. An elephant is like a spear." The third touched the trunk. "I see. The elephant is like a snake." The fourth touched the leg. "An elephant is like a tree." The fifth touched the ear. "You are all mistaken. An elephant is like a fan." The sixth touched the tail. "No, it's like a rope." After each man had felt the elephant, they began to argue. Each insisted he was right based on his experience. The king, hearing the commotion, called out to them. "You are all correct," he said. "Each of you has touched a different part of the elephant, and each of you has a different perspective of what it is like. The elephant is not just one thing. It is the sum of all of these parts." The blind men, realizing their mistake, stopped arguing. They understood that each of them had only a part of the whole truth. They left with a newfound respect for each other's perspectives.
What lesson do you think this story teaches? The story about the elephant and the blind men explains the Jain principle of Anekantavada. Anekantavada holds that truth and reality are complex. No single perspective can capture the whole truth. Anekantavada influences many Jain beliefs. First, it helps them to understand the nature of the soul. According to Jains, each soul possesses infinite qualities. No single perspective can capture a soul's true nature, just like each blind man couldn't fully describe the elephant by feeling only one part. Anekantavada also guides how Jains reach enlightenment, which involves balancing knowledge, faith, and conduct, known as the 3 jewels of Jainism. Instead of following a single path, Jains believe that each facet must be integrated into a holistic approach to enlightenment. Finally, Anekantavada encourages Jains to approach situations with an appreciation for multiple viewpoints, just as the blind men in the story learned. Now, return to your guided viewing to complete your review task for this story. This leads us to our second core principle and second story. Ready?
One day, Lord Mahavira was meditating in a dense forest. He was approached by a fierce, venomous snake. Feeling threatened by Mahavira's presence in the forest, the snake reared up, ready to strike. Despite the danger, Mahavira remained calm and continued meditating. The snake, angry that Mahavira wouldn't leave, lashed out and bit him. But Mahavira's inner peace was so strong that the venom had no effect on him. He remained undisturbed, radiating tranquility. The snake started to feel the power of Mahavira's peaceful nature, and its anger subsided. Transformed, the snake bowed down before the holy man and felt a sense of inner peace.
What lesson do you think this story teaches? This story illustrates the principle of ahimsa, the concept of avoiding harming other living beings in any way. You learned about it during the Hinduism lessons. Ahimsa is the central principle of Jainism. Jains live by the words ahimsa paramo dharmaha. This means non-violence is the highest religion. In other words, no other part of their faith exists without this concept of ahimsa. It is the utmost duty of Jains. Jains look to Mahavira as a pillar of ahimsa. In this story, Mahavira faced an aggressive foe. but his inner peace and refusal to give in to violence tamed his enemy. Remember, Jains believed that all living beings have a soul, each worthy of equal respect. Adhering to ahimsa ensures respect for other souls, and a soul's karma is directly tied to the practice or non-practice of ahimsa. Ahimsa is a component of right conduct, one of the 3 jewels of Jainism leading to liberation. Additionally, ahimsa complements anekantavada, as non-violence in thought, word, and deed encourages the tolerance and understanding of multiple viewpoints. Okay, now return to your guided viewing to complete your review task for this story. So, how do you think ahimsa influences daily life and practices of Jains? Well, you'll have to wait until next time to find out the answer. The Library of Faith is about to close for the day. Wow, curious souls! I worked up an appetite learning about Jainism. So it's time to enjoy one of my favorite parts of visiting India, the food. I just ordered a bowl of palak ka saag, a traditional cuisine enjoyed in Pawapuri. It's entirely vegetarian, made from spinach leaves and served with roti bread on the side. Come to think of it, the entire menu is vegetarian. Not even any chicken or fish. Huh, I wonder why. Well, enough pondering for now, friends. I see my food coming out now and I'm starving. Until next time, stay curious.